the modern, educated, empowered, liberated woman of the 21st century, with the power of her finger, is reproducing exactly the same system that we see in gorillas or sea elephants, this system, a polygenic system where only the males that are on the top reproduce and all the others do not. We start this chapter talking about the story of an American young man that the guy became kind of famous because he shared his Tinder stats. And he liked over 2 million profiles.
He liked over 2 million profiles. Wow.
He liked over 2 million profiles. Out of these 2 million profiles that he liked, he got around 1,000 matches. From these 1,000 matches, he got around 100 conversations. From these 100 conversations, he got one date.
Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily. Today's guest is Leonardo Orlando, political scientist, Sciences Po Paris, postdoc in evolutionary psychology at ENS. Co-authored a book with philosopher Peggy Sastre called Sex, Science, and Censorship. And if what he says sounds familiar, there's a reason. A lot of it traces straight back to David Buss's 1994 book, The Evolution of Desire, the foundational text in this entire field. Orlando isn't inventing anything new here. He's citing the same body of research the Manosphere has been quoting for years, except he's doing it with a PhD and a publisher instead of a YouTube channel. So today, we let him cook. Minimal interruption, maximum receipts. Shout out to Peter Bogosian for this interview. Excuse me if I butchered your name, sir. Let's go!
Ain't that a man? How are men and women different?
Well, it's very easy. Let's start with a question. Let's say that we have one fertile woman and one fertile man. Over a period of 1 year, how many children can the woman have? One. Over this same period of 1 year, how many children can the man have?
Quite a few.
Quite a few, or to be more accurate, as many as fertile women are willing to have sex with him.
Or even unwilling.
Well, in this case, let's stick with the scenario where everything is willingness.
Okay.
But in this case, this is what gives you the base of sexual selection. The idea that what is optimal for making copies of yourselves that make copies of themselves, right, in order to have children, and that those children have children on their own, and that your genes are there in the genetic pool for generations and generations to come, what is an optimal strategy for males and for females is entirely different. The optimal strategy for males is to inseminate as many females as possible. This is the strategy of males everywhere in nature. And the optimal strategy for females is to be picky, to choose the male that is going to provide either the best genes or the best resources. Well, if we get from these principles that I just mentioned that what is optimal for males in nature is inseminate as many females as you can, and for women to be very picky, the very first thing that you have is a difference in sex drive. And this is something that you see everywhere in nature.
Right.
And in particular with human beings, you can see this in many different ways. To begin with, sexual thoughts. Men are obsessed about sex, and this has been quantified.
Speak for yourself. No, I'm
No.
Go ahead.
I'm speaking about stats.
Yeah.
And this stat shows that men, on average, they think about sex at least 4 times more often than women. They dream about sex more often than women. They are literally 99% of clients of prostitution. They are overwhelmingly the consumers of pornography.
4 times more sexual thoughts. This part is well documented and not seriously contested. Why do we have to apologize for our natural instincts to booty tap dance the shit out of women? Not just for pleasure, but because the survival of humanity wills it. Life could be much easier if we worked with it instead of against it.
This translates into these things that I am mentioning, but also into the willingness for for example, casual sex. And there is a very famous study that was done in the late 70s, and the year is very important. I'm going to say why. This study was originally done in the US, and then it was replicated all over the world in different cultures, and everywhere you are obtaining the same results.
Okay.
The study is called Would You Like to Go in Bed With Me? And essentially, the scenario is the following. You have an attractive female that it's in the street, and when a man comes, she just stops kiss and says, I find you very attractive, I live upstairs, would you like to go up and have sex? And then you have the opposite scenario, an attractive male that does the same thing with the female. So in your view, what's the percentage of men that says, yes, sure, let's go, and what's the percentage of females who said, yes, let's do it?
I would say 98%.
And women?
Women, I would say 0.01%.
Well, you are surprisingly accurate. For men, it's 75%.
Oh, that's all.
That's all. But wait, because it's going to get more interesting. You will see.
Okay.
And for women, it's literally 0%. Zero.
Oh, it's not even 0.01.
Not even point something, zero. And this was replicated all over the world, different cultures, even, for example, Nordic cultures that we know are the most open ones. And also I mentioned the years that this was originally done. Why were important the years? Because this was after the sexual revolution of the 60s, 70s in the US, but before the HIV pandemic. So the years where, you had like full sexual liberation and not so much, sexual fear regarding diseases. So what you have there is these results, but here's when it gets interesting, as I was mentioning. The males, the 25% of males that were saying no, were apologizing, were saying, I'm sorry, I have a wife, I have a girlfriend, I am late for a job interview.
Or they're gay.
That I do not, at least in the study, maybe, but in any case, there was an explanation. While 100% of women that said no, the reaction was, I quote, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Even the men who declined apologized. The women who declined were horrified anyone would ask. That reaction gap alone tells you something the raw percentages don't. 75% of men, 0% of women. Real study, Clark and Hatfield, 1989. Replicated internationally, including in Scandinavia, one of the most sexually liberal, gender-equal regions on Earth. This isn't a cultural artifact. It shows up everywhere researchers have looked. Now, full credit where it's due. There is a legitimate academic debate about why the gap is that large. Researcher Terry Conley at Michigan has shown some of the gap closest when you control for perceived safety and the likelihood of actual enjoying the encounter. A stranger propositioning a woman on the street carries real risk in a way it doesn't for a man. That's worth knowing. But even Conley's own follow-up work still finds a real, if smaller, gap remains. The finding isn't fake. The size of it is debated.
Turtles.
Oh, sea turtles.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's the proper pronunciation.
Yeah.
So that you have, that they put eggs in the sand, in the beach, and there are like literally hundreds, and it's only a fraction, like maybe 10 or 20% that are going to make it. But still, that's a good strategy, because you put lots of eggs, some of them are going to make it. Well, that's a little bit, and once again, for pedagogical reasons, I'm explaining it like that, a little bit the male strategy. Like you try to inseminate as many females as possible. But then you have this incarnated in many other dynamics, because if men have sex drive, it will imply that they have a very different relationship with one-night stands. Yes, let's start by the end, and in the chapter that we have in our book about one-night stands, we have a whole chapter about vocational sex, and we conclude this chapter asking the reader to think that maybe the feminists who push women into having one-night stands, behave like men, if at the end of the day they don't hate women and then they enjoy seeing women being miserable.
This is pure gold. Sit with that, gentlemen. He's asking whether the same effeminist encouraging women toward casual sex, behavior that, by his own data, correlates with regret for a huge share of women, either secretly hold men's values or actually enjoy watching women suffer for it.
So here there is the same thing. Usually men enjoy one night stands for the sake of it, just because they enjoy it. Men, when you check, is like the overwhelming majority of men after one night stands, they report very positive feelings. They're extremely happy. Men usually regret the opportunities that they miss rather than the one night stands that they had, in opposition to women. Women, over 30%, actually almost 40% in the studies that we have, regret having had one night stands. 80% of the women that regret having had one night stands, they express negative feelings. Sentiments of, feeling diminished, less value, all these kind of things. So this is also because men engage in one night stands, once again, for the sake of it, while usually women is for the particular reason of maybe getting into a relationship with the guy or not missing an exceptional opportunity.
Here's what 20 years in this space has shown me, and Orlando is actually pointing at it himself without saying it directly. He keeps calling resources the most important thing women select for, and resources isn't just a paycheck, it's status, access, a role in a film, a seat at the table, anything that signals value beyond the sex itself. So this is the part of the conversation about body count that women and men like Mark Manson, who argue alongside them, want dismissed. If it's easy for women to get sex, it's not a bragging right, and it won't increase her value in the eyes of the man of value she actually desires. The regret doesn't come from the act of sex itself. It comes from the sex failing to secure the resources she was actually after. If men value low body counts, women with high body counts get filtered out of the exceptional opportunity. And the Disney and rom-com fantasy never mentions that part. It promotes the idea that a woman should land her Prince Charming regardless of what she's done to get there.
Why would women feel like that after one? Is there an evolutionary explanation for why women feel like that?
Absolutely. We get to the beginning, because the thing is, like, if we get back to what we were mentioning of what is the optimal strategy, and we said that for females, the idea is being picky. Because here, what we must always keep in mind is that during all of our evolutionary history till yesterday, with the invention of the pill and all that, sex equaled pregnancy. So this is important. And the idea is like which females were able to raise the most children that grew up and had children of their own. The ones that had sex, therefore that got pregnant with the first loser that show up, or those that were, picky with the male that they were choosing. The ones that were picky. Because those were the ones that were making sure that the man was providing either resources or good genetics, or both.
Till yesterday, one sentence, and it reframes the entire modern dating conversation. For nearly all of human history, sex meant pregnancy. Full stop. The pill didn't just change technology. It detached female sexual choice from its evolutionary logic almost overnight, and biology hasn't caught up.
During which we evolved. So the thing is this, and we start this chapter talking about the story of an American young man, 26-year-old, I believe, that the guy became kind of famous because he shared his Tinder stats. And these Tinder stats, official stats from his application, not something that he was claiming, he liked over 2 million profiles.
He liked over 2 million profiles. Wow.
He liked over 2 million profiles. That's a little bit extreme, of course, because it means like it was like over 1,000 profiles per day.
He must be on there constantly.
It's a little bit pathological, but let's put that aside for the sake just of the argument. The point is that he liked over 2 million profiles. Out of these 2 million profiles that he liked, he got around 1,000 matches. 1,000 matches still is a lot, but from 2 million likes, it's a lot. From these 1,000 matches, he got around 100 conversations. From these 100 conversations, he got one date. That was unsuccessful.
You think? But this is what men do, gentlemen. They're gonna test this shit. They're gonna figure it out. We got airplanes, smartphones, and artificial freaking intelligence. Remembering we shit.
So, this
Wow.
could seem a little bit extreme, and of course it is, but it gives us a very interesting picture of what's happening in dating apps. That is, that men like, according to data, between 60 and 70% of female profiles that they see. Females, they only kind of get their attention in around 20% of the profiles of men that they see, but they like only between 4.5 and 5%.
Welcome to the manosphere, gentlemen. This information has become mainstream and cannot be disputed and cannot be labeled as misogynistic. However, a gynocentric society is going to spin it this way because acknowledging women's expectations as unrealistic is going to hurt women's feelings.
Well, we have data from the United States. In Europe, it seems to be the same. But the thing is, like, women have lots of criteria because, as we were mentioning, they are picky. For example, in the US, almost every woman that has responded to these polls that have been
Let me
made.
guess. Has to have a job.
Oh, even before getting to the job. Tall. They want men to be at least 6 foot tall, 183.
Wow.
But here's when it becomes interesting.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but almost every woman wants men that are at least 6 foot tall, 183 centimeters. Little problem though. Only 14.5% of American men are 6 foot tall, 6 foot or taller. So already you are restraining yourself to this 14% of men. But then you have, of course, what you were mentioning regarding a job, and in order to get a job, you need to have a university degree. That nowadays, a university degree, unfortunately, is the key predictor of success in life. Women, they do not want to touch men without a university degree. This is what data shows. Another little problem though. In the United States, you have around 21% of men over 18 that have a university degree.
One correction here, because it matters. That 21% figure is wrong. Actual US consensus data puts it all just over 37% of men with a bachelor's degree or higher, nearly double what he says on camera. The underlying point still holds. The exact number just doesn't. The manosphere has been talking about this for decades.
You find the same thing once and again. The most important thing for women is resources in a potential partner. And this, of course, is the same thing everywhere in nature. It's like other females, they, in the rest of nature, you know, for example, birds, it's like the females inspect the nest that the males are building. So these kind of things. So you have all these cumulative things that women want and that get us to the 4% of men that they like. And this is when it becomes very interesting, because the modern, educated, empowered, liberated woman of the 21st century, with the power of her finger, is reproducing exactly the same system that we see in gorillas or elephant, sea elephants, you know, not elephants, sea elephants. You know, this system, a polygenic system, where only the males that are on the top reproduce, and all the others do not.
Wow.
And we know that this has been the case for humans by genetic data. We know genetically that most fertile women in our evolutionary history, in all the history of our species, have reproduced, while only a few of men have reproduced.
Like we always say, women are women first. This means we're talking about her nature, her instinct, her mate selection mechanics. The mechanism is the same one running in nature everywhere else.
The problem with this is that this is bad for everybody. Why? Because you have most women that their all competing for the same males. You have most males that are just being ignored, and then you have the winners that is some kind of Pyrrhic winning. Why? Well, it's what we call the Leonardo DiCaprio effect. Leonardo DiCaprio, over 50, I believe, always dating the hottest women on earth.
Younger, yeah.
But he has no children.
Yeah.
So what's, the reproductive success of Leonardo DiCaprio? As of today, from an evolutionary point of view, is zero, because he's not using this succeed in order to, spread his genes.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Every headline says winning. Evolutionary. By Orlando's own framework, he's a dead end. Ho ho! No children, genes not passed on. The most successful man in the modern dating hierarchy is, by the actual metric this entire theory is built on, failing at the one thing the theory says men are optimized for. That contradiction is worth sitting with. It's the clearest evidence in this whole interview that modern status and evolutionary success have quietly come apart from each other, and neither the top 1% nor the men getting 0 matches have fully clocked it yet. He said it near the end of the full interview, and it's worth closing on. This knowledge should be common enough to teach in elementary school, and instead, it's still controversial to say out loud in 2026. Whether or not you agree with every number he cited, and we corrected the one that needed it, the pattern underneath all 5 of these sections doesn't change. Different math, different strategy, different regret, different outcomes. The manosphere didn't invent any of this. It just noticed it first. Listen to all, follow none.
Manosphere, we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.